Sleazy or nasty or it's pushy, but actually it's really just about sharing the passion, what you're actually interested in, what you went into your business for. You're passionate about what you do and you need to share that, and marketing is just the way of doing it. It's just a word, it's nothing offensive. So you just need to think about it. But I do think it's a really great quote, because it is about sharing what you do so people can ask you to help them, because basically what your service is something to help someone else. So always bear that in mind. You're not being sleazy or nasty asking people to buy from you. So introduction, what we're going to go through is mindset, market, message, and media. And the market, message, and media is something that I've always talked about in terms of marketing your business, because it's so important. And most people get it around the wrong way. Anybody who's seen me present knows I've done that. I've talked about that before. But actually, in today's times, mindset is equally important. It's important at other times as well, but particularly at the moment. So we're going to go through a bit on mindset in terms of getting your head in the right space and see where you go. So the interesting facts of what's coming out in terms of what's happening now. So while obviously people aren't around, this is a quote I found. Internet traffic has surged by up to 70%. I've seen various numbers. Vodafone have been putting out numbers, all sorts of people have. But it seems to be, people talked about 20% or 50% originally, but now it's about 70%. And you may have noticed that because your own service is not as good as it was. So, you know, it's all been a bit more of a hassle for those of us who are used to it. It's like, oh, everything's gone slower now. And interestingly as well, social media has jumped by 22%, which is really large on some of the platforms that people were saying, oh, are dead, people are not using, but it's really, really active now. The other thing I've also read, which I think is quite interesting, and again, it's completely contrary to what I want to talk about today, but is very close to my own experience, is that both Facebook and Instagram adverts have reduced in cost. Anywhere between 30 and 50% I've seen in terms of numbers. And it's because the big brands have backed out of advertising. Now, I've had this conversation with Kate before. I used to work for Revlon in the States, which is a major consumer brand. So you'd think that they would always carry on advertising. Well, they had a bad budget year, decided to cut their advertising budget because it's the easy, quick thing to cut, and it's very visible. And you know, it's just like, oh, we just won't spend the money. And of course, their business just actually fell through the roof for the next quarter, fell through the floor for the next, not through the roof, fell through the floor for the next quarter. It was really a disaster. And everybody learned from that is that you should always keep advertising. You should never actually stop. But at the moment, if you did want to do any Facebook or Instagram advertising, it's working in your favor because the prices have gone down so much. So it can be worthwhile an investment, because it is an investment. But with those statistics, really your digital presence is no longer just important, it's critical. It really is. There's a good chance that all your doors are closed now. People aren't coming to your office or talking to you the way they did last year. You're not seeing networking meetings, unless you're having them online. And even if you are home for business, people aren't sure what they want to do. They're uncertain about where they want to spend. What they want to do is get all their questions answered and all their objections overcome from the safety and security of their own homes. So you need to think about that in terms of how you answer it. Of course, you have a website, but can people find you on Google if they don't know your company name? Are you easy to find? Does your website come up quickly? One of the things I've been working on recently. People only want to know what they want and need, so they need to find you easily, and that's really important. And does your site guide your customer through your buying process? Or is it just, you know, just a brochure type site that really is pretty to look at, but doesn't actually give them a clue of where they need to go next, or how they contact you, or what they need, what the next stage is. One of the things that everybody knows who's spoken to me about websites is that I'm really pleased that people put their prices on websites. People say, oh, I don't want to because I'll be telling my competition. You need to be more confident than that and just put your prices up there, because otherwise it's another question. People have got, you're putting another block in your customer's way of actually getting in touch with you. There's another reason for them not to contact you because someone else may have the prices, and that's more transparent. People want it to be easy. So you need your entire buying process needs to work without you becoming involved. It needs to be clear that people can follow a process through and then just contact you. Or if your first stop, and I know it is for Kate, is a free chat, then make sure that's very clear. Because that's the opportunity for people to get to know you. Obviously, make sure it's online, make sure it's clear it says via Skype or Zoom or however you want to do it. But, you know, so you may need to change your wording, but think about it in terms of how you actually approach your clients now and make it easy for them to get in contact with you. And so, and does it all address your customers' concerns, what they're really looking for? And I'll go in more into that when we go into message and media. So, you know, we can look at what people are really looking for at the moment. So let's go through some other mindset issues. Right. Now is the time to lay the foundation for you to, and if anyone's into driving, as you come to a bend, you're supposed to slow down. And then you really accelerate out of the bend. And that's what you really want to try and do. And this is a perfect opportunity to do that. So if you lay your foundations now, and the new normal will not be the same as the old normal. So you need to think about how you want to be and what you want to appear when you do come out of that bend. I think it's really important. So think about what shape your business is going to be. I think everything will be much more online from this point onwards. So now's the time to plan how to keep in touch with your customers and your potential customers, and also how you're going to offer your services going forward. And it's really important. If you do nothing, fear, panic, and inaction will just send you on a downward spiral and you won't be able to get out of it. If you keep trying to do the same as you've always done, you'll get the same as you always got, but maybe actually a bit less because people aren't used to doing the same things now as they used to. So now's the time to plan how you're going to move on. And you know, it's a great opportunity to actually make your product more visible online. And I know that when this first happened, I really, really struggled. I think a lot of people did, just mentally with oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And I was mega into content consumption. Because everybody was offering free courses and you could learn this and you could learn that. And I was thinking, oh, I'll look at this, I'll look at that. I then learned that I knew most of what it was, so I don't know why I was doing it, but I was going through this process of just like consuming content, and that can be news as well, which I now steer well away from, to content creation. And making that switch is really good because it turns your fear into confidence. You then have the confidence because you're focused on things that you can control. So if you're creating, you can control that. And that's really important, I think, for your mindset. And I think what we want to do is once you start focusing on content, when you create content, you're more focused, you're more productive. And most importantly, I think, is your current clients and prospects want to be guided by you at the moment and be led by you through this situation. So start to think about how you can serve them. And if you start to do the content creation and avoid, as I say, the lure of bright, shiny objects, which I am the biggest for falling into. I love bright, shiny objects. But I'm like, I do not want to learn any more new software at the moment. I have to learn some things, but I'm really out of it. And it's quite interesting because I was having a conversation with Colin. We were talking about Kindle books, and I'd had 4 Kindle books ready to go on my desktop for a year and just needed finishing off, but I did not want to go through the learning how to do KDP, which is the Kindle Direct Publishing, because it had changed from the last time I'd looked at it. And it was just like, I really don't want to do this. So actually, and work out the layout. So I found someone on Fiverr, which is one of these services. It's not actually Fiverr or $5 anymore, but it was like $10 or $15, who converted all my books to the right format. And then all I had to do was upload them and fill out the form. And they even did a document that told me how to do that. And so I went from having books sitting on my laptop to books published. And it took me less than a week to do that. And that was them coming back with the 4 books and negotiating on price to get a better deal. But it was just instant, and it was just getting into action. And I felt so much better having done that. So I can tell you from my own experience, it does make a difference. And then the other thing is that you need to focus. If you try to do too much, you know, when people start their businesses, they usually bite off more than they can chew. And this ends up causing overwhelm. If you try to do too much, you will just become overwhelmed. I have lots of competing priorities at the moment, because obviously doing websites and doing things online, people are changing a lot at the moment. So I've got a lot of work at the moment, but it's just trying to work out and balancing it so I don't become completely overwhelmed. And that can be quite a struggle. But you know, you mustn't get sidelined, don't get dragged away, and just stick to the basics and keep going. So focus on what you're trying to achieve, decide what your plan is, and then focus on those things that you want to deliver. So if it's to get that book published, or if it's to get that, just focus on that one thing and get at it, make it happen. And that's so important at the moment. And now let's look at market. Where if you've seen me present before, you'll know that my 3 things in life are market, message, media. In that order. What usually happens is that people get called up by an advertising company or something that they want to talk to, who wants to sell you an advertising space in some, I don't know, charity magazine. It can be way worthwhile, and if you want to do that because you want to support the cause, that's great. But don't do it just because they said, oh, all your competitors are doing it. It has to be because it's the right place. And knowing whether it's the right place is actually understanding who your customer is. And that's all about working out your ideal customer avatar. And I did an exercise with Kate Kelly a while ago. Obviously, for those who know Kate, probably all do, she's a business coach, or gets classified as a business coach, but she's not actually the same business coach as like Colin. So one of the things that Kate told me who she thought her avatar was, and one of the ones that I came up with for Kate was actually other business coaches. And it was something she hadn't thought about before because she focuses on process, and a lot of the other business coaches don't. They deal with other aspects of people's behavior and how they approach their business. The fact that Kate has this really nice niche in terms of process meant that she should be marketing her services to other business coaches who either don't want or don't like or hate doing that bit, because that's the bit she loves doing. So actually working out your ideal customer avatar, who your target market is, who your target customer is, how they think, what they do, is a really, really valid exercise. And if anybody, I'm quite happy to talk to people after this if they want individual sessions, 15, half an hour sessions. But also I have some sheets that if you want a sheet of how to work out your avatar, because you need to think about the demographics, are they do they have 2.2 children? Do they shop in Sainsbury's or Waitrose or Tesco? Because that gives you a view of where they are, where do they live, who do they hang out with, who are their friends? And understanding that and writing a very detailed customer avatar is really, really useful, because it helps you when you're writing copy and you're writing things to your ideal avatar to think about who you're talking to, and you use the right language, because it's language they understand. Later on in the presentation, I wrote part of this presentation with one of the members of the Stowmarket Chamber in view. And it's a lady who's not with us today, not here today. Not with us, that sounds awful. Not here today. It was Tracy, who owns a travel agent, because a lot of my friends have been affected, obviously, over here, because it's a very touristy area, by a travel industry. And I had that in my mind of like, okay, travel agent, how would she cope? What would she be doing now? And what could she be doing now? So I've got lots of ideas in my mind for her. So I'll have to probably contact her to say, look, I've had some ideas. How about this? But because I'd worked out this avatar, it helped me put this presentation together in terms of what would she want? What does she need to know? And so working out your avatar, whatever you're trying to do, really helps. And the other thing you can do is don't guess. You want to check what your customer really, really wants, to quote Spice Girls. So don't guess, don't fall in love with your own idea, because it's probably not right. You think it might be great, but you need to actually test it. So A/B is testing ads. So you try 2 different ads, see where they work. You can try different pages, you can try different products. But the simple thing, particularly at the moment, is to ask questions. People are on social media, so ask them the questions. Do some research, or pretend to be someone else. Go into a group. There are fantastic groups on Facebook and other platforms, LinkedIn, and just see what other people are saying. See what they're saying, see how they're reacting, and start to understand what your customer really may want. And basically, it's really quite simple. There are only 10 things that people really want, and I'll go through those later. And 4 of them are really key. So we'll cover those. So next, we'll go on to your message. Now, the message really will have changed, and it needs to change in the current circumstances. And these are things that, from everything I've been reading, that people want to hear. They want to hear that you're part of the local economy and not a giant faceless conglomerate. They want to know that you're local. People want to know that you're doing your part, keeping your employees and your customers safe. It's that you're doing something to help. And they want to see that you're going through a similar experience to theirs. And these are the things that you really need to be, and I'm sure you can all achieve this. They want you to be empathetic, vulnerable, and hopeful. No more bad news, please. There's enough going on already. Some of the most effective posts I've done personally recently have been ones where I've been updating people about what's changing here. The restrictions changing. Because we're slightly ahead, I mean, all my friends in the UK have been really interested and really responding to things I've been posted about, you know, this is what's happening here, there's more restaurants are opening, no, small restaurants aren't opening, small businesses are opening, restaurants open in 2 weeks' time, hooray. Because we don't have a big takeaway business area here. So restaurants are opening, things like that. It's all staggered. I mean, my favorite one, which I did post about, is that you can now do individual sports, so long as you don't use a changing room. So you can play tennis, golf, which obviously is big in the Algarve, and you can surf, which is also huge in the Algarve. Only they haven't opened the beaches yet. So I haven't quite worked out how you get to surf and know you just jump over the sand and into the water or what. So it's like, I don't think that was very thought through, but you know, governments are just experimenting. Don't beat them up. It's all new to everybody. So they're just going through that phase of what's actually happening. So, but as I said, showing that I'm going through those kind of experiences and what's actually happening, that masks are becoming almost mandatory now, not yet in the UK, and everybody's been very negative about them, but Portugal wasn't bothered before, but now is. You can't go into certain food stores unless you're wearing a mask. Those kind of things people are really interested in. So, and that's actually just showing that I'm going through the same experience as everybody else. And that's the empathetic bit, and people want to know. So I think that's really important, that you actually remember those. And pushing a message of buy, buy, buy is absolutely not the thing to do now. So people don't want to hear that. They want to know that you can help them, but they're not trying to just like want to buy everything that you've got. They will buy, and there are a lot of people still buying, and there's a lot of people still active, and there are a lot of people whose business has not been particularly affected. I mean, as I say, I've lost some customers, but I'm picking up new ones who actually want to do more online. So it's a balance that you need to go through. But most people right now need a life raft and not the yacht. So, and what I mean by that is that, and that's why I thought of Tracy as well, with a cruise ship. So you need to adjust your sales offer to help with what clients need right now. But so people are investing things that are going to solve today's challenges. So, I mean, I think Steve Stoddard is perfectly positioned because he can help people, and his presentation in 2 weeks will do that, help people actually present themselves on video. Because that's something that would be really helpful. It's questions people need now. I could have done with Steve's presentation a few months ago when I was trying to set up my own video studio and get things going, because I needed to know how to do that because I wanted to record some videos to go with my course. So, and that's what it is. And I would have invested in that because I need that now. But they don't need all the glittery stuff, all the beautiful stuff. They don't, so they need things that they can help with them reach their short-term goals and not their long-term aspirations at the moment. So while you can have the long-term in mind, and that's important, it's actually very much about short-term at the moment. And you need to recognize that. So you need to change your offering to reflect it. And this is one of my classic ones, is sell the sizzle, not the sausage. So this is benefits versus features. So benefits are how you make your customer feel, how it solves their problems and understand their pain or stress points. Features are just like color, maybe not for me because my husband believes that I only ever buy a car because I like the color of it. But that's just me. Speed, price, technical details, people don't care. They want to know how it makes them feel, how it solves their problem. And the following are the key motivators that make people buy. And the first four are the main ones. They either want to make money, save time, or avoid effort. That's the primary motivators that people have to purchase. The other ones are escape physical and or emotional pain, gain praise, be more popular, get more comfort, be more comfortable. achieve greater cleanliness or hygiene somehow, you know, better self-care, and attain better health. So which is all the weight loss industry. But actually, the first four are the key. So make money, save time, avoid effort. That's what you want to understand. Understanding what that means to your customer means you'll understand how you solve their problem. And then on to media, which is the final element. And I'll talk about media in various different things, but I would say prioritize your marketing tasks. These are important because you need to make sure that people still remember you when this is all over. So keeping in touch and keeping your name known is really important. So simple things to do is to write out a daily action list. You can use your calendar, or you can use software. I actually discovered Asana project management this year, and it's really helped me organize my action lists and make sure I do things that are repeat tasks. It's great. It also helps me manage online teams as well, because I have marketing assistants who work online. You should put money-making tasks on top. Now, that doesn't have to be sell, sell, sell. It can just be reminding people of what you do. Because if they want to buy, people will buy. You can never force someone to buy something from you. So promotional emails, posts on social media, but not the hard sell. And I'll talk about soft sell later. And start with the hardest task first. That's what everybody says. It's like eating the frog. It's the Brian Tracy book. So if anybody's read that, it's a great little book. So you do the hardest, apart from slicing it up, your tasks, slicing them up into smaller tasks, do the ones that you don't like doing first to get them over with. And then you can do the things that you find fun. So it's the easiest way to actually approach what you need to do. And also start your day with your marketing tasks. You may find, particularly on social media, that there are certain times of day when people are on social media. I think that, again, that used to be really pre-pandemic. Now people are on social media all time, at any time. So just start your day, get your message out there, and hopefully it'll be picked up at various times. And one for Steve, this one's definitely for Steve. Embrace multimedia. So these are some stats I picked up. First one's from HubSpot, which is a really big online company. The last one's from Facebook. So it's 4 times as many customers want to watch a video of reading text. Most people online spend more than an hour a day, and it's probably more now because this again was pre-pandemic. And almost half of consumers online want more product video. So it's a really, really marked trend. And the interesting one from Facebook is that 85% of video is watched without sound. So make sure you get your videos captioned. Now, you might not always be comfortable being on video, and it's something I'm not 100% comfortable still doing Facebook Lives. A friend of mine's really embraced it, Lisa Dixon, and she's doing really well. I'm still not quite there with it, just not quite me. But I probably will get there. But you can put videos of other things up. You can put videos of products up. And again, I was talking about Tracy, and I think about Tracy and her travel agent, and actually seeing videos of nice places to go in the future, so you can just dream about it, would be really nice. Just a whole series of and you can get promotional videos from different places. I've spoken to a friend of mine here and said, why don't you put videos out of, how nice the Algarve is and some of the beautiful beaches, so people can plan. I mean, people want to daydream at this point in time. So while it might not solve it, it will keep you in mind that, oh, you put up that nice video about, somewhere I could go. So think about what you can do. As I said, it doesn't have to be you actually confronting it. It can be something, you can share a TED talk, if anybody's familiar with them, about something that is relevant to your business. Just some useful information that actually is you could just put out there that will help people. And that's the whole point, is that you're trying to help people here with your marketing. So what else can we do? Soft sell social media. Now, this is probably my whole thing anyway. It's not just in this environment, but it's even more important in this environment, I think. It should always be soft sell. People don't go on social media to be sold to. They will buy, and they sometimes do buy from adverts, and I've certainly bought from adverts on social media. But think about why you go on yourself. You keep in touch, find out what's happening, what your friends and family are doing. That's really what you need to think about. And so you are interrupting, so you want to get part of that conversation, and it is a conversation. So that's what you want to try and do, is build conversation with your social media posts. So ask questions. There's lots of ways of doing it. Get emotional and build relationships. I think it's really quite important to put some of you out there. I mean, if you're having a bad day, bad days don't usually work. But if you're having a really good day and something's gone really well, put that out. People will join in celebrating your success. So be more personal if you can. You don't have to expose your whole life, but just be more personal. The more I put photos of me and my horse out, the more I get clicks. It's probably the horse, not me, but yeah, you definitely get more interest. Or if you've got a cute cat or a cuddly dog, you know, those kind of things. It's the more personal things, and particularly as we're all around the house all the time anyway, it's worthwhile doing. Listen to what's going on and engage. So the engaging is coming back, is actually talking to people, and that's the whole difference that it will make. Respond to questions, encourage user-generated content, ask other people to post things on your site or to share their experiences. And you can post research information that you found from different sources that make it interesting, that might help people. And it can be about your business or your business sector, but it just might help people in terms of what's going on now, because people need to know what's helping. And don't try and do all your social media platforms. It's one of the things I'm really quite passionate about, is that you don't need to be on everything. Choose the ones that suit your business. For example, if you're in B2B, LinkedIn is actually getting better and better as a social media platform. You can put videos on there. You can, I mean, the advertising I wouldn't even bother with, but you know, with a free account, you can do loads, and it's a great place to build up contacts and to get exposure and just to put things on and to get people to give you testimonials and to talk about how you've helped them. It's really useful. It's a great platform, and I think it's really been underused. It had a bad phase before it got purchased by Microsoft, because Microsoft now own LinkedIn, and now it seems to be picking up again. Not quite sure where Microsoft is going to take it, because they would like trying to link it up with Word in terms of doing resumes. But actually, it's become a really good business platform for small businesses in particular. Because again, the thing about social media is that it lets you punch above your weight, because people don't know what size your business is. So if you come across with authority and that you know what you're talking about, it really helps. So don't do it all. Choose one or two platforms and focus on those. And again, because there's so much going on in your life, because people got kids at home, there's lots of happening. It's just sometimes it gets really depressing and overwhelming when you see all these things happening and people dying. And I have to say, the news media is awful. It seems to focus on the negative all the time. So it's quite easy to get depressed by it. So, you know, try and keep going, and just don't let that overwhelm stop you from just focusing on a couple of platforms. And then set up a process. So I'm great into, Kate will love this. Yes, I got a thumbs up from Kate then, I thought I would. So when you actually create your blog post, then decide how you're going to create social media images for it, and then how you're going to share it to your list members. Automate an email to go to your list of subscribers if you can, or just do one separately. Because repeating your blog post on your email is not really a problem, or version of it, as Alan probably could tell you. And then repurpose your blog post. Yeah, Alan, thumbs up from Alan there. So you can turn it into a podcast or a video, or you can split it down to make 10 more in-depth posts to go onto your social media. Don't keep trying to come up with original content. Use what you're producing, and which everybody, again, people know me, repurpose your content. And these are just some ideas that you can do. You can make it in slideshows, podcasts, articles, videos, images, testimonials, memes, ebooks, case studies, infographics. There's lots of things that you can do in terms of repurposing your content, but try to use the same content over again if you can, rather than think, oh God, I've got to create yet something else new. So, and that will really help you. And document your marketing routines. Once you've got that routine, write it again. Kate will relate to this. Write it out, make it a routine, because you get faster with practice. You work out what works and what doesn't. You can improve your workflow. And actually, the nice thing is, if you want to, or whether you want to at the end of this or before, is it makes it much easier to outsource. So if you've got a routine that you know that is, and obviously ideally Kate will push you into a written routine, as opposed to keeping it all in your head, it's easier to outsource the whole thing. So, and that is obviously where you want to grow your business. So just to say, we're coming towards the end now. So just thinking about what you want to do, I'd like to say small daily actions matter. Keep it small, do something every day. Just don't give up on your business. If you've been worried about it, keep going, but don't make it too complicated. Try to think of money-making activities. So, you know, it could just be, it may not be that you're just having to sell something, and you don't need mega technology to do it. So keep it simple. It's nice to have great technology to help you get things done, but it's not needed. Review what you're spending. I mean, in terms of making it money making as well. I actually did an exercise about 6 months ago where I found that I was subscribed to all sorts of things that I really didn't need or didn't use anymore. I just hadn't necessarily got around to cancelling them. And actually that goes straight to your bottom line. That's a real difference. So if you bought something and you now don't use it, get rid of it, cancel it. Always be marketing. You'd say I would obviously say that, but it is very important. Don't stop. I've seen it not work and people stop and they just forget you. It's really easy. Or they'll see someone else offering something similar and think, oh, I'll go to that person. So try and be in your client, not in their face, but in their mind, because you're just posting. And posting can, if you're on Facebook, you don't need to, on LinkedIn, you can just post once a week. On Facebook, 2 to 3 times a week is probably all you need to post. Twitter probably every day, but you don't need to go mad with it. Don't overwhelm yourself. Schedule everything. I use scheduling tools. You can schedule on Facebook. There are other scheduling tools you can use. I'm just trying out a new one, but there's a whole range of ones you can try. Hootsuite has a free service for up to 3 accounts, and I think 30 posts a month or 30 posts at a time. What else? Buffer is another one. There's loads of these scheduling tools that let you do it. Also, you can schedule your blogs. If you have a WordPress site, you can actually write your blog and then have it published when you're ready. I tend not to do that because I forget the day I've published it and forget to do the other things I need to do in terms of linking it. So I tend to not do it quite so easily, but it is easy to schedule everything. There are ways of doing it. And consistency is absolutely key. You need to keep doing it and be there. And it can be very difficult to be consistent, but it's what you actually have to do to actually achieve a result. And I actually, because I write for the Berry Free Press every fortnight, I did an article a while ago on actually being consistent. And it can be a struggle, but it's really important. So just don't have those ups and downs. Just try to keep a steady flow of information, which is why I'm saying don't do too much. Keep it simple. And just, I thought I'd end with another quote. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. So you need to work at it. So don't forget that. So it's important to do that. So thank you, everybody. And does anybody have any questions? I will cut out of this and stop sharing my screen, and we can go on to questions. If I can work out how to stop sharing my screen. No, I don't leave the meeting.
So if I see Steve's got a question first because his hand's raised. So I'm just finding he's not a number. That's it. That's the one.
Yeah, I saw that. To change that at the last minute. Kim, a couple of things. One,
Yep.
Huge congratulations for not using the phrase "go for the low-hanging fruit."
Oh God, no.
I think I would have fallen off my chair if you'd used that one. Secondly, it's an interesting thing about, I think it largely, well, perhaps doesn't largely depend, but if you're in a service where it basically determines you're always having to go out to do something,
yeah,
that to an extent kind of sort of limits your options a bit. So, I mean, I've been actually doing some of the things you've been talking about, is recycling stuff, but it's literally meant me spending time in the shed retasking old bits of kit so I can reuse them for other things. So, I mean, how would you approach that for somebody who's in that kind of situation?
The other expression I didn't use, which is one that you see everywhere, is pivot to your business.
Ah.
So that's what I didn't use as well.
Right.
I suppose that would be my recommendation, is actually try to find more things you can do online. And I think for you, Steve, in particular, it is actually building now a platform for you for when you can actually go back out again.
Yeah.
So I think resharing some of your old content is really great, but also doing things like doing handouts for the presentation you're going to do, which I think is what you're planning.
That's right, yeah.
I think I saw that on the announcement. So that people have something that they'll remember you by. Yeah. Is really good. Getting them signed up to an email list, so you can build an email list. I know you hate that. We can go through that, but it is worthwhile doing.
Oh, I'm coming round to it.
Oh, good, excellent, because that's what you need to do. And I'd say, and talking, but even if it's that you're only even if all you email, Steve, is your ex-customers, just to let them know that, you know, this is the kind of thing you're doing.
Yeah.
I think doing that kind of pivot of actually being a little more online. And also, as I said, take a look at your website. I know you've done a lot with your website recently, but also see whether you've got more of the process on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of how people just not, you know, contact me.
Well, on the email front, I mean, I've been helping Anya with ConvertKit
Yes.
quite
Yeah.
a lot, and so I can see how it can be used to very much to your benefit, but
Yeah.
also how you can avoid the hard sell with it. You know,
Exactly.
you don't have to be doing hard sell with it.
No, it's
So,
not about
yeah.
hard sell at all.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I don't have quite the visceral dislike of it as I used to have, for sure.
Thank
Which is
you.
probably just as well.
Phew.
Yeah, absolutely right. But yeah, thank you, Kim.
That's okay.
Anybody else for a question?
Oh, Shelley, you just come back.
Kate?
Kim, I really liked that slide you did, which was about sharing your passion.
All right, yes.
And I wondered, could I have a copy of that slide and use it as the picture that, you know, when we tell people that this took place?
Yeah.
Is it okay to use that slide?
Yeah.
Because I think it puts it on a completely different plane. The trouble is, all my experience tells me that if you get people to talk about, you know, tell me the last salesman you spoke to, they're always talking about unsuccessful salesmen who back you up against a wall and talk at you. And of course, really successful salesmen don't come across like that. And so they aren't recognized that way. And people tag sales and marketing together as being this, you know, shove you up against the wall stuff. And I just really like to be able to use that slide.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Thank you very much.
Great. Shelley had a question, I think.
Did I?
Oh, it was a yes. Yeah, I saw a yes on the chat. Clearly that was a yes in answer to the earlier question.
That was a yes to the earlier question. But just a quickie for Kim, because Kim does know my demographic, so to speak.
Yes.
And we have possibly about just under 200 home users that I look after. A lot of them are diamond surfers. And some of them are what we call golden surfers, and basically they don't use social media. A lot of them, they you know, they don't go on. I mean, a few of them do go on Facebook, but majority of them only usually use email, or they'll just do their online groceries, or they might Skype their grandchildren or whatever. But from a point of view of trying to get a hold of them, what I have been doing, which I don't know whether it's right or wrong, is just sending them an impersonal email once a month. I've been checking in with them, just to sort of say, this is what I've been doing. And a lot of it isn't to do with work at all. It's about baking, or it's about doing something in the garden, or something sort of nothing to do with my business. And then I've just sort of said at the end, you know, obviously, if you have got any computer glitches or whatever, you know where we are. Obviously, give us a ring. If you want help with Skype, we've done a few people where we've given them crib sheets so they can actually set the Skype up and things like that. But from a marketing point of view, to keep in touch with the home older user, what else do you think they would use?
Your email is perfect, so that works really well. Other things in terms of a very local user base that I would think about is going offline again rather than online. So doing things like flyers.
Oh, really?
Leaflet drops. Yep, they still work.
Oh, okay. I mean, I am in the parish magazines and things.
And parish magazine is the other thing. Yeah, and parish magazine.
Yeah, the annoying thing with those is that they've obviously taken the hard copies, so not delivering them anymore.
Oh, they're not.
So they're now doing a digital version, which I did put. I advertised those in theory through the Nextdoor app that people are all into, you know.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I went onto the InTouch digital copy, and it's absolutely rubbish.
Yeah.
Absolutely rubbish. I mean, the Telstar that we have here is pretty good, and it's still as clear as clear. You know, you can literally scroll through.
Is that your local one?
Yeah, and anybody who's not very computer literate would be able to see the adverts, see all the stories and this, that and the other. But the InTouch one is just absolutely, I thought it was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
So they give up with that, you see.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether you've had any other ideas. So
Really,
leaflets.
it's flyering and local magazines to reach that older generation is
Yeah.
really what you need. I mean, I know from my parents' experience, I mean, their little local parish magazine is what my mother finds most of her, what she wants to initially contact.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's, you know, the expectation of them using social or using the internet even is quite difficult and quite beyond quite a few people. So,
Good. Okay.
anything else from anybody? No. Okay.
Alan, over to you.
Okay, in that case, as ever, Kim, thank you very much indeed. Always up to the minute and insightful with what you tell us. You're always bang on the money with it. And I speak from experience here, folks. Kim, please do take to heart Kim's advice. She knows exactly what she's talking about. And thank you very much indeed, once again, for sharing that advice with us, Kim. That's very much appreciated. And we wish you, of course, all the best for your own business. May it continue to thrive.
Thank you. And if anybody does want to contact me,